I just wanted to talk about my first few days post-op after VSG gastric sleeve surgery. There's sort of a lot. I started this process in December of 2021, and I had the surgery on July 27th, 2022. So there was about 7 months there between the time I initially decided that I wanted to go forward with the surgery and start the process to the time that I actually got the surgery. So in that space of time, my first appointment was with a physician, the surgeon, where we just kind of talked about what kind of surgery that I wanted and what he thought would be best for me based on, any weight related issues, which I didn't really have a lot of. I had borderline hypertension, but my BMI was very high. I want to say around 50. I don't know the exact number, but I know it was high, maybe even like 52. So I definitely qualified for the surgery. With my insurance, I had to do 4 months of classes and dietitian appointments where basically I just had to try my best to follow a high protein, low carb, low fat diet. I did implement a lot of the things that I learned in those classes and dietitian meetings, but I did not lose really any weight during that time. And that kind of brings me to the 2 weeks before my surgery. So I'm a teacher. I'm off school, off work in the summertime. So I was really, really hoping that I would be able to get the surgery this summer. And have time to recover and learn to eat and things like that before I got to school. But it was just so booked up and pushed back because of COVID. A lot of people had to wait. So they were trying to kind of catch up on from even last year. So it was getting closer and closer to the end of summer. I mean, like I said, we're at the end of July here. Today's July 30th. And I was thinking my first scheduled surgery was August 9th, and then they were able to push me back. So I ended up being able to have the surgery on July 27th, which is about 2 weeks before school starts. So that I feel like that gives me plenty of time to recover. And I don't have to take additional time off of work, which really, really works for me. But I was called about 13 days before my surgery that I would have that new date. So I had to start my pre-op diet that same day. My pre-op diet consisted of eating or drinking 2 protein shakes per day, like one for breakfast, one for lunch. And then for dinner, I was supposed to have a high protein meal that was low carb, low fat. So basically like meat and vegetables and 2 protein drinks. So the first week I did not do very well on that pre-op diet. I was kind of shocked that my surgery was coming up so soon, and I felt like I needed my brain wasn't there yet, and I totally failed the first week of my pre-op diet. I'll be completely honest. I didn't really do much, and I did try to watch sort of what I ate. I didn't want to gain weight, obviously, but my mindset wasn't quite there. I kind of was in a little bit of disbelief. And then that second week, that's actually when I started following the diet very strictly. I was drinking protein shake for breakfast, protein shake for lunch, making sure that I had tons of water intake at that time. And then I would eat 1 meal for dinner, and I tried to, follow the guidelines. And so I did that up until the night before my surgery. I was able to eat as long as it wasn't after, 12 a.m. the day of my surgery. So my last meal, I had a salad and we were staying in a hotel. The hospital where I had my surgery is about an hour and a half away from where I live, the city I live. There are no bariatric surgeons or hospitals that do bariatric surgery. So I did go out of town. And so we were in a hotel the night before. I had to drink 3 Ensure pre-surgery drinks. My doctor gave those to me. I had to drink one with dinner, so I had one with my salad. I had one right before I went to bed around like 10 or 11, which really I did not sleep that night before. And then I had to drink one more 4 hours prior to my surgery time. My surgery time was 8 a.m. So I had to drink the last Ensure pre-surgery drink, which was like a strawberry, it tasted like strawberry Kool-Aid, but it was clear. And I had to drink that at 4 a.m. And that's when I got up and got ready for the surgery. I had a shower. They instructed me to take a shower, obviously, before surgery. I had to take off all of my jewelry and not use any kinds of lotions or creams or anything like that. And yeah, so I wore something comfortable. I had my bag already packed, and my husband and my kids drove me to the hospital. The first thing that happened once I got there was I checked in and I was taken back. My family stayed in a waiting room for a little bit, and they came in, they had me wipe myself down with these, I don't know, they were warm, like almost like baby wipes, but I think they were like sterilizing wipes. So I had to wipe off my arms, my legs, my stomach, my back. And then I had to take a pregnancy test just to make sure that I wasn't pregnant. And then they started an IV. And then my family was able to come back. They also put like compression things on my calves, I guess to help with circulation, so you don't get a blood clot. And then my family came back and they got to come and hang out with me until they were to take me off to surgery. The anesthesiologist came in and talked to me. I was most concerned about speaking with the anesthesiologist that morning because this was only my second surgery. My first surgery, I believe, was in 97 or 98. I can't remember, but I was like 6 or 7 years old and I had my tonsils removed. And I actually woke up in that surgery. So I was concerned, about having a surgery and how I would react with the anesthesia. That was like my main concern. But she assured me that everything would be okay. She was actually really, really nice. And even before they gave me the medicine in the operating room, she said, "I promise you're not going to wake up, you're going to be fine." And that was just like really reassuring to me. And then the doctor came in and he chatted with me, and my kids were in there, and he was really kind. And he just looked at my belly. He said, just general things, asked if I had any questions, which I really didn't. I have done my research pretty well on this surgery and knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so then he left and we kind of waited for a little while, and right around 8:15 or so, they took me out and put me in the operating room. They wheeled me there in the bed, and I had to scoot onto like the operating table from the bed I was in. And the last thing I remember was, of course, the anesthesiologist talking to me. She stayed in there the entire time. And she said, "Okay, I'm about to give you, the stuff that's going to make you sleepy." And I said, "Okay." And then I remember somebody putting like a blue oxygen mask over my mouth. And then that's all I remember. The next thing I remember, I was in like a recovery room, and I just could not keep my eyes open. I remember them taking my blood pressure. Like I remember the blood pressure cuff vividly, and I actually have kind of a kind of a like a thing I disliked about my experience with that blood pressure cuff in recovery, because I was in there for a while. I was in that recovery room for a long time because I think the hospital was pretty full, so they were kind of waiting to get my room together, um, and for, to go into after that. And yeah, the blood pressure cuff was taking my blood pressure every 5 minutes, and I really didn't have a good, sense of time because I was coming out of anesthesia, but it was on my arm for hours, and I was left with a really bad bruise on my arm. It's still there somewhat, but it was much worse. And that is just like busted blood vessels. It doesn't hurt, and it looks kind of like a rash, but it's flat. I'll try to insert a picture of what it looked like after I noticed it. It was a lot more red and it was bigger. And I don't know why they were taking my blood pressure every 5 minutes for that long. I still don't really have an answer on that, but that was that was one of two of my worst, experiences in that hospital. So after I was there and they got the room together, I want to say this was probably, the surgery didn't take very long. I think I was out, until like maybe by 11. So I don't even think it was that long. I think the surgery was only like an hour and a half. The surgeon came out and told my husband that everything had gone fine, and he also gave a picture of my stomach. So I have a picture of what my stomach looked like before it was operated on, and then I have a picture of what it looked like um, after they did the procedure and they cut the portion of my stomach off. Um, so I thought that was pretty interesting, and I was thankful to have that. And then they wheeled me to the place I would be staying overnight, the room I'd be staying in overnight. It was very nice, and big and spacious. And it had two TVs. So like there was a couch and a place for my kids to chill. And there was like a TV for me. And, there was just a lot of space in there, which I was thankful for. The bathroom was really nice. I ended up taking a shower the next day. But that night, that evening, I pretty much just, kind of rested. I talked to my kids. They brought up flowers and a balloon. And yeah, I used the bathroom. I went to the restroom for the first time after surgery while I was up there, and that was fine. Yeah, I just needed a lot of help. Oh, I forgot to mention in the recovery, I did vomit up, like bile, stomach acid, a time or two. And then I did do that immediately after going to the restroom. Walking, that just made me really nauseous. But that has been, the only time that that's happened to me. Now that I've been home for a couple days, I'm, 3 days post-op right now. That hasn't happened to me since. I actually don't feel much nausea except in the car. We took a little drive earlier and I felt a little bit sick. But other than that, I haven't had lots of issues with nausea or vomiting. So also my best friend came that night after my family went back to the hotel, and she stayed for a couple hours and talked to me. I also got up and walked around while she was there, walked the halls of the hospital just to kind of get some of the gas pain out. But I was feeling pretty good. I really can't complain. I really felt fine. And so then she left. Oh, I did eat a little bit of, I was on a clear liquid diet. So I have the little menu here from the hospital. I think I just had like some chicken broth and some clear protein drink, some water, and that's about it. Let's see here. Yeah, water and everything went down pretty well. I didn't have very much of it, obviously, but I haven't had any troubles with like getting in fluids or anything like that. So after she left, I kind of just slept for a while. The nurses obviously were coming in, giving me medicine, taking my blood pressure every couple hours, and I did sleep pretty well that night. The next morning when I woke up around 6 a.m. or so, I did, they came in to take blood, and they noticed that the IV had infiltrated. I think that's what she said. So the fluid that they were giving me all night had been going into my arm, and my arm was swollen a little bit. So they did have to take that IV out. Since I was drinking fine, I didn't really feel like I needed more fluid after that. I did not want to get another IV, but my doctor recommended that I get another round of antibiotics, just part of protocol, um, before I went home. So I did go ahead and let them do another IV, and I did get more, like another bag of fluid, and I got the antibiotics via IV as well. And that day I did eat a couple times. Like in the morning I was on full liquids. I was on clear liquids the day of surgery. Um, the next day I was on a full liquid diet. So I had a little bit of like cream soup. I had chicken broth again. I ordered a popsicle, but I didn't need it. I ordered some Crystal Light and some yogurt. And like I said, I never had any trouble. I didn't eat a whole lot, but I really wasn't having any kind of trouble keeping anything down or, drinking fluids or anything like that. That's been pretty easy for me up to this point. So I ended up being discharged from the hospital around 2 or 3. Like I said, everything's a bit hazy. I've been on pain pills and things. Around 2 or 3 that afternoon. And I was anxious to do that. I was ready to go pick up my dog. She was being boarded at the place that she gets groomed at. So I was really anxious to just get home and get in my own bed and, kind of heal on my own. They sent me home with 9 medications. So at this time I was not in a lot of pain, but I had nurses constantly coming in and giving me stuff, around the clock and asking me, what my pain level was, and they were managing it very well. And even to this day, I haven't had a ton of pain. Only the worst part was my back. Right after surgery, my back was in pain, and I think that was from laying flat on the operating table. As far as, my stomach and my incisions, I have 5 incisions. They really were not, it really wasn't too bad. So I was sent home with acetaminophen, 500 milligrams. I was sent home with esomeprazole. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Which I think is like Nexium. I did not pick that one up. Some of these I was given but did not pick up because that's over the counter, so I just didn't want to mess with that. I was sent with gabapentin, which is like for nerve pain. I've taken that a few times since I got home. I did not take that today, but that one had been helpful with like incision pain. I was sent home with odanastron. That's for nausea. They actually sent me home with ibuprofen, which I already knew that I was not allowed to take NSAIDs anymore. So I don't know why. I'm gonna ask at my pre-op or my post-op appointment that's coming up here why I was sent with that, but I did not pick it up. Yeah, the odanastron, that is like Zofran. And I've only taken that once since I've been home. I haven't dealt with lots of nausea. I did, however, have a nausea patch on. They did send that with me too. They prescribed that to me. I didn't pick it up since I didn't feel like it was important to have 2 different kinds of nausea medications. But that patch stayed on for 3 days. They put that on right before I went back into surgery, and I just took that off today. They sent me home with oxycodone. I've only taken that one time. That was the night I got home from the hospital. So I haven't felt the need to really take that. Um, yeah, the scopolamine patches. Like I said, I did not pick that one up just because I felt like I didn't really need two different kinds of nausea medications. They sent me home with tramadol, 50 milligrams, and then I'm instructed to take two. I've taken that one the most to control the pain, but it looks like since I've been home, I've taken it 5 times. The last time was today, this afternoon. I was about to take a shower and my back started hurting again really bad. So I went ahead and took that, and that helped a lot. But I'm trying just to take, only what I need. And then they also sent Ursidile, or it's commonly known as Actigol. That is like a gallstone medication, and that is to help prevent gallbladder problems. And I believe that I am prescribed that for the next 6 months, because if you know that a lot of people with weight loss surgery, they end up having to get their gallbladder removed, and so that is a preventative. I'm also taking my thyroid medication. I take levothyroxine 100 micrograms every day. And then I'm taking vitamins. I am taking two multivitamins a day. I'm taking two calcium citrate with vitamin D vitamins. These are chewables twice a day. And then I'm also taking an iron soft chewable in the before bed. So that is kind of what I'm doing and juggling with in terms of medications and vitamins. So like I said, I'm really only taking the medications as needed. Aside from the gallbladder medication, I've kept up with that one and my normal thyroid medicine, and I've taken the tramadol more than I've taken anything else. But the further I get out, I am still only 3 days post-op. I'm gonna try to rely more on acetaminophen for my back pain, because like I said, my back pain has been the worst pain of all of it. It didn't have anything to do with my stomach, but my incisions have hurt here and there. It's just not been extreme. It's really not been unbearable. I did have some gas pain. They do fill your stomach up with gas while they're operating, so there's like a lot of trapped gas pain. But it's been tolerable, and it's helped that I've walked around and stuff. So like I said, on that next day after surgery, I was on a full liquid diet. I'm still on a full liquid diet until day 15, so for 2 weeks. And that has been going okay. I'm not going to lie, I definitely feel hungry. It doesn't help that, I have 3 kids and a husband who are eating normal foods, delicious looking foods, and I feel like I just want to choose something. I've pretty much been, I've just been following my guidelines here. I'm allowed light yogurt, strained, low fat or fat-free cream soups. So like cream of chicken, cream of mushroom soup. I just strain the pieces out and I blend it with 1% milk, which is allowed here as well. I've tried cream of wheat. I had that this morning and I sweetened it with stevia, and I made it with 1% milk. And these portions are only 2 ounces. So I'm eating just 2 ounces, or 1 ounce of one thing, 1 ounce of another thing at a meal. And I have to eat that very slowly. I'm using like a really small spoon, and I try to eat those 2 ounces in about 20 minutes. So I don't do it too quickly. Like I said, eating and drinking has not been a struggle for me in terms of getting things down or keeping things down. The only thing I've noticed is that if I drink too fast, if I forget to take a sip and I take more of a gulp, it feels like it kind of gets stuck here for a second. But then usually a burp will come up and then it will go down. So that's something that I'm dealing with, just learning how to slow down and, not overdo it. because I'm so used to just chugging down water or and food or whatever. Um, I can also have Jello, sugar-free popsicles, which popsicles, the sugar-free popsicles have helped. I've had the first one of those today. That helped with the wanting to chew something. So that was helpful. And I'm also drinking about 2 protein shakes a day. Um, and I'm allowed coffee, but I have not drinking any coffee yet. And then that's about it. Mostly just soups without any pieces in them, and oatmeal, cream of wheat, soup, liquids. That's mostly, what I've got going here. So today was really the first day that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. Like I just want to take a bite of something. And it's been difficult because I feel like I could get it down fine. I feel like it would be fine. But I know that I'm only kind of sabotaging myself. So, and I don't want to, my stomach is healing. I don't want to ruin anything. My stomach is stapled. I don't want to, mess up my staples or stretch out my pouch or, it's definitely a mental game because I don't feel like I'm not physically hungry. I don't feel physically hungry. It's more like a head hunger that I've just got to get over. And, this is not normal. It's not normal to live off of 300 or 400 calories a day, and mostly, have liquids and no pieces of food all day long. It's not something that's normal. I don't think there's really anything that can fully prepare you for that. But keeping it in the back of my mind that this is only just a small fragment of time, and I will get to eat, as of day 15. I will get to move on to phase 2, which is purees and soft foods. So I will get to have, meat and, things that are pureed. But there's so many different bariatric recipes that look very appetizing at this moment in time that are allowed in the pureed stage that I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to that. I've just got to kind of get through these 2 weeks. And then by day 30, I'll be, eating more normal. So after about a month, of course, portions will still be extremely, smaller than what I'm used to. Um, Still about 2 ounces per meal, but it's much more normal, types of foods like scrambled eggs and, chicken salad, tuna salad, cottage cheese, peaches. I am just looking at the meal plan here, and there's just tons of different things that I'll be able to tolerate. I'm not interested in in trying things that I'm not ready for, and potentially harming myself or, um, you know, making myself sick. So that is kind of where I am, as far as, 3 days post-op VSG. I did weigh myself yesterday. I was 3 pounds less than my pre-op weight, what I weighed when I went in for surgery. Um, that 7-day liquid diet with 1 meal that I did before surgery, I didn't lose any weight on. I don't know, my thyroid, I feel like it holds me back. But my whole pre-op process, I did not lose any weight. So I was the same weight when I went into surgery as I was when I went in for my consultation. But I have lost 3 pounds, so that's a big, step in the right direction. And obviously that's just like water weight and it's not anything substantial yet, but I'm gonna stay off of the scale for quite some time. And just try to focus on healing, focus on getting in fluids and protein and vitamins and, taking care of my body following the doctor's orders. So if you have any kinds of questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I was sort of on the fence about sharing my journey. I haven't shared it with a lot of the people in my real life, but I have really leaned into, um, the VSG support community via Facebook. And also, I mean, these videos were just super, super helpful for me to watch as I was preparing for surgery. And even now, I'm, interested in what other people are going through during the same stage as me. So I hope this was helpful for you. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I will do my best to answer. And hopefully I can get on here soon and post another update, maybe after a week or two goes by and I kind of am healed and back more into normal life. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.